I think there's two different biblical nuanced views I think we have to look at. One is Jesus made it clear in Matthew chapter 25 in the parable of the sheep and the goats, what you've done for the least of these, you've done for me. And he talks about clothing the naked and feeding the hungry and visiting people in prison. So I do think believers should lead the way in terms of compassion for migrants and refugees and asylum seekers. That's one issue. Right. And I think we want to be clear on that. And we don't want to compromise what Christ instructed us to do in terms of compassion to the poor and the hurting and the broken. Now, the flip side is borders and national boundaries are very valuable to God.
Right.
He told Israel, here's your boundaries. Proverbs 22:28 tells us, don't move an ancient boundary in stone that was set up by your ancestors, right? Even in the book of Revelation, at the restoration of all things in the age to come, every tribe, tongue, and nation will worship him. It doesn't say there will just be one conformist kingdom.
Right.
We actually preserve our linguistic and national distinctions throughout all of eternity because God the Father values these distinctions. And so I think it's important to understand the blame for the turmoil caused by the immigration crisis in the U.S. and in Europe. That blame, I don't think, goes on the individual immigrants. This is a planned, chaotic event. So we have to understand that there is a political reason that the left in America wants us to not have real borders. And that political reason is generally they want more voters who vote on the left, and they're willing to compromise our national security because of it. Now, there is a way to have actually this many immigrants, but to process them in a way that is responsible and compassionate. And so this is planned chaos. This is intentional disruption of our nation and our way of life. And so it's not so much that we're looking down on immigrants. We want to love and show compassion to immigrants. It's that we're looking at the agenda that intentionally holds back border agents so they can't do their job.
Right.
Prevents a wall from being built. Guns up the works of the court so that we can't properly and efficiently and compassionately process paperwork. And so think about like Ellis Island, right? When we had millions of immigrants coming through Ellis Island, they didn't have a computer system to run everything. And they were able to process millions of people in a matter of decades. And now we have all these fancy computer systems. It would not be hard to implement a system to track and make sure they learn our history and our language and this sort of thing. But there's not a desire to do that. There's a desire to create chaos. And so I think we need to look at the deeper agenda and put the blame where it belongs, squarely at the feet of Marxists in this country who want to undermine our government and our way of life.